Mr. Oliver, an Anglo-Indian teacher, was returning to his school late one night on the outskirts of the hill station of Simla. From before Kipling's time, the school had been run on English public school lines, and the boys, most of them from wealthy Indian families, wore shirts, caps, and ties. Life magazine, in a feature on India, had once called
Eton of the East.
Mr. Oliver had been teaching in a school for several years. The Simla Bazaar, with its cinemas and restaurants, was about 3 miles from the school. Mr. Oliver, a bachelor, usually strolled into the town in the evening, returning after dark when he would take a shortcut through the pine forest. When there was a strong wind, the pine trees made sad, eerie sounds that kept most people to the main road. But Mr. Oliver was not a nervous or imaginative man. He carried a torch, and its gleam the batteries were running down, moved fitfully down the narrow forest path. When its flickering light fell on the figure of a boy who was sitting alone on a side of the forest, Mr. Oliver stopped. Boys were not supposed to be out after dark. When Mr. Oliver approached the boy, Mr. Oliver sensed that something was wrong. The boy appeared to be crying. His head hung down. He held his face in his hands, and his body shook convulsively. It was a strange, soundless weeping, and Mr. Oliver felt distinctly uneasy.
What is the matter? What are you crying for?
The boy would not answer or look up. His body continued to be racked with silent sobbing.
Come on, boy. You should not be out here. Tell me the trouble. Look up.
The boy looked up. He took his hand from his face and looked up at his teacher. The light from Mr. Oliver's torch fell on the boy's face, if you could call it a face. It had no eyes, ears, nose or mouth, nothing. It was just a smooth head with a school cape on top of it. And that is where the story should end. But for Mr. Oliver, it did not end here. The torch fell from his trembling hand. He turned and scrambled down the path, running blindly through the trees and calling for help. He was still running towards the school buildings when he saw a lantern swinging in the middle of the path. Mr. Oliver stumbled up to the watchman, gasping for breath.
What did it say? Why are you running?
I saw something horrible. They have no face.
No face, Sahib.
No eyes, nose, mouth, nothing.
You mean like this, Sahib?
Again the same.